Here's the story of a lovely lady who was bringing up three very lovely girls. All of them had hair of gold, like their mother, the youngest one in curls.
It's the story of a man named Brady who was busy with three boys of his own. They were foremen, living all together, yet they were all alone. Till the one day when the lady met this fellow, and they knew that it was much more than a hunch, that this group must somehow form a family. That's the way we all became the Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch, the Brady Bunch. That's the way we became the Brady Bunch.
Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of the rAM Show. My name is John Swislak and I'll be your host. We have an action-packed show for you guys tonight. We met with an amateur golfer to examine the difficulties of playing golf. We spoke with a teacher and a student to better understand the implications that COVID-19 has on teaching and learning. We traveled to Philadelphia to better understand what it is like being a homicide detective in one of the largest cities in the world, and we spoke with the local fire department to better understand the implications that COVID-19 has on that department. Enjoy the show.
Today I'm here at the Perkiomen Township Fire Company. Ever since the virus blew up, the fire company had to make a lot of changes. I'm here with Battalion Chief John Moran Jr. John is here to answer a few questions that we have about how the coronavirus has affected the fire service.
It totally rocked the fire and EMS service. We had to make sure we had the proper PPE for our members on the trucks so that when we respond, we have it. It's in the trucks. We have stuff here at the station that they can grab before they get on the truck, and we can respond out to assist EMS.
In the short time that I was at the fire company, John told me about how the fire company purchased face masks for their firefighters.
In addition to the supplies that were given to us, we also purchased neck gaiters. Each member received 2 neck gaiters to wear around for when we're doing our training, or we go out on a call while we're all riding in an apparatus in the cab where there could be anywhere from 1 guy to 7 individuals within that space. It has our emblem on it. It shows the pride of the company.
I'm Dylan Moran reporting for RCTV.
It's Lanaya Rosado reporting to you about the inside workings of being a homicide detective in Philadelphia. Detective Orlando Ortiz is here to tell us all about his job and his 15 years of experience of being a detective.
I like being able to investigate crimes, especially now that I'm in the homicide unit. I get to investigate murder. Pretty fulfilling to be able to solve someone's murder.
He then tells us what he would change about his job and how people really don't trust the police.
I think trying to get witnesses to trust us so they can cooperate because they don't trust the police.
Detective Ortiz then tells us the challenges he faces when having this job.
The hardest part is dealing with family members, telling a loved one that their son or daughter was murdered.
I hope this gives insight on how being a detective is a fulfilling and proud thing to be. It's Lanaya reporting for the rAM Show.
In our next segment, we sat down with a local preschool teacher to better understand what it's like being a teacher through COVID-19. And then we spoke with a Temple student to understand what it is like being a first-year student in college through this ever-changing virus.
What's your name?
My name's Mrs. Sissio.
And where do you work?
I work at the Montgomery County Intermediate Unit in Norristown, which is also known as the MCIU in the Pre-K Counts program.
With the start of the school year being virtual, how do you think it is affecting your students?
So all of my students, they haven't actually met each other yet this year besides during our Zoom sessions. And the Zoom sessions only have a few students at a time, so they don't all know each other at all. They can't interact or socialize. They can't play on the playground together. And they aren't learning as effectively as they would in the classroom.
Do you think these effects will be long-term in their future education?
Yes, I do think so, because I'm not actually able to teach the kids their basic social skills or meet the needs for their behaviors as I would if they were in the classroom.
How does communicating strictly through technology change the way relationships are created between you and your students?
Communicating just through technology, I can't really get to know my students as I would in the classroom and understand them as the actual person that they truly are. So it is very tough for me, and I'm not able to see exactly how they learn through a computer.
What is your approach to ensuring your students are getting the best education as possible?
I have three different Zoom sessions that I plan based upon all of my students' skills. So like I have a higher level Zoom, medium level Zoom, and then a lower level Zoom for the kids. I try and make the learning as hands-on as possible, so I have to plan ahead about 2 to 3 weeks. That way I can make sure I get all the materials to all of the kids for the week that I'm actually teaching the lesson, and I give it to them every Wednesday.
Dealing with COVID-19 has been easier for some than others. One group who is struggling the most is freshman college students. Today, we ask Riley Burke, a freshman at Temple University, how she is making the most of the situation.
I would say my main goal is to try my best because I know everybody else is going through the same thing, and just to keep my grades up and do what I can. Creating study groups through Zoom and stuff, and trying to make connections through group chat stuff can help learning online. I think we just have to accept that everybody's going through the same thing right now and realize that we're not the only ones. Even people who've been in school, college for years now, they're still upset about the situation. So I don't know, just make the most of it.
In our last segment, we talked about the game of golf and the struggles that come with it for any everyday player.
For a very long time, golf has been known to be a very difficult sport, so I decided to interview an amateur golfer to see the biggest challenge he faces on the course.
One of the biggest challenges for amateur golfers is something called the slice. The slice is something that happens in which golfers consistently push the ball either the left to the right, depending on the dominant hand.
What is the result of a slice?
The goal usually in golf is to try and get the ball in the most center of the fairway, which helps you give a better approach shot and makes the game a bit easier. But if you were to slice consistently, a lot of the time the ball will go out of bounds or leave you in the rough or just leave you in tough situations, which will eventually make your score go up. If you find yourself slicing the golf ball a lot, don't be too discouraged because it happens to a lot of golfers. Just make sure that you practice a lot and really focus on stuff that can make you improve your swing. Especially if you have played other sports, imagine baseball or lacrosse, you might have swings ingrained already into your athletic abilities, so it might take a little bit longer to get rid of them. The slice can affect your mental game, strictly just speaking confidence-wise, because if you play with other people and they start hitting the ball well, you know in the back of your head that that slice is still going to be there, so you might as well try and fix it as soon as you can, because it's always just going to slow down your game and people are going to eventually just keep getting past you, so you want to take care of it as soon as you can.
Thank you so much for watching this edition of the RAM Show and all the exciting segments that came with it. Have a good night.